Dr. Sarah Chen walked through the metal corridors of Kepler-7 space station. Her boots made soft clicking sounds on the floor. Behind her, a small black and white animal followed closely. The creature was about the size of a house cat, but much more muscular. Its small dark eyes watched everything around them. "Come on, Brutus," Sarah said softly. The honey badger looked up at her and made a small huffing sound. He had been with her for 3 years now. She found him as a baby in an abandoned research lab on Mars. Most people thought she was crazy for keeping him as a pet, but Sarah did not care. Brutus was smart, loyal, and never left her side. Today was important. Sarah was part of the first human team to meet with aliens. The Zephyrian Collective had agreed to talk with Earth's government. Sarah was there as a scientist who studied alien life forms. She hoped to learn about creatures from other worlds. The meeting room was huge. The ceiling stretched high above them, and large windows showed the stars outside. Sarah entered with 5 other humans. Captain Rodriguez led their team. Dr. Martinez was their diplomat. The others were military advisors. The aliens were already waiting. Sarah had seen pictures of Zephyrians before, but seeing them in person was different. They stood about 7 feet tall on 2 legs. Their skin looked like green and brown scales. Long tails swished behind them as they moved. Their heads were shaped like triangles, with yellow eyes that never seemed to blink. The leader of the alien group stepped forward. He wore a gold collar around his neck that showed his high rank. "I am High Commander Siskatar," he said. His voice sounded like gravel in a metal tube. "I speak for the Zephyrian Collective." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward to respond. But then the aliens noticed Brutus. One of the aliens pointed at the honey badger. "What is that small creature?" he asked. "This is my companion animal, Brutus," Sarah said. "He is a honey badger from Earth." The aliens looked at each other. Then strange sounds came from their throats. Sarah realized they were laughing. The sound was like rocks grinding together. "This pathetic little beast is your companion?" Siskatar asked. His yellow eyes showed amusement. "How strange that humans would bond with such a weak creature." Another alien spoke up. "Look how small and ugly it is. What possible use could such a thing have?" Siskatar reached into a bag he carried. He pulled out a clear container. Inside was the most beautiful creature Sarah had ever seen. It looked like a butterfly made of living crystal. Its wings caught the light and threw rainbow colors across the room as it flew in slow circles. "This is a proper companion," Siskatar said proudly. "A crystalline dancer from the Andorian system, beautiful, graceful, and peaceful. It shows the power and wisdom of its owner." The other aliens made appreciative sounds. The crystal butterfly landed on Siskatar's arm and folded its shining wings. "Your Earth beast looks like it could barely catch its own food," another alien said. More grinding laughter filled the room. Sarah felt her face get hot with anger, but she kept her voice calm. "Brutus may not look like much, but he has many good qualities." "Such as what?" Siskatar asked. "He seemed to find the whole situation very funny." "He is loyal, intelligent, and very brave," Sarah said. This made the aliens laugh even harder. "Brave?" one of them said. "This tiny rat is brave? I could step on it without noticing." Brutus sat quietly next to Sarah's feet. His dark eyes moved from one alien to another. He did not make any sounds. He did not seem afraid or excited. He just watched and waited. "Perhaps humans are as weak as their choice in pets suggests," Siskatar said. His voice became more serious. "Any species that bonds with such pathetic creatures clearly lacks strength and wisdom." Captain Rodriguez tried to change the subject. "Shall we begin our formal discussions?" he asked. But Siskatar was not finished. "I am curious about this creature," he said, looking down at Brutus. "What tricks can it perform?" "My crystalline dancer can create beautiful light patterns and sing songs that calm the mind," Sarah looked down at Brutus. The honey badger was still sitting perfectly still. His muscles were relaxed, but his eyes never stopped moving. "Brutus does not perform tricks," she said. "Of course not," Siskatar said with more grinding laughter. "It probably lacks the intelligence to learn any." The other humans in Sarah's group looked uncomfortable. They could see that the aliens were mocking them. But they needed these talks to go well. Earth needed allies in space. Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Perhaps we could see your beautiful companion's abilities?" he asked politely. Siskatar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. He whispered something to his crystal butterfly. The creature took flight and began a beautiful dance in the air. Light poured from its wings in waves of blue and gold. The patterns were so beautiful that even the humans stopped to watch. The dance lasted for several minutes. When it ended, the butterfly returned to Siskatar's arm. The aliens all made pleased sounds. "Now," Siskatar said, looking at Sarah, "let us see what your rat can do." All eyes turned to Sarah and Brutus. The honey badger looked up at her with calm, dark eyes. He tilted his head slightly, as if asking what she wanted him to do. Sarah realized this was a test. The aliens were judging humans based on their pets. If Brutus failed to impress them, it might hurt Earth's chances of making friends with the Zephyrian collective. She looked down at her loyal companion and made a difficult choice. Sarah knelt down next to Brutus. "Stay," she said quietly. The honey badger remained perfectly still. She stood up and faced the aliens. "Brutus is not here to entertain you," she said. "He is my friend and companion. That is enough." The aliens looked at each other and made more grinding sounds. Siskatar's yellow eyes narrowed. "Your creature cannot even follow simple commands," he said. "This proves what I suspected about humans. You are weak." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward quickly. "Perhaps we should begin our formal negotiations now," he said. "We have important matters to discuss." Siskatar waved a clawed hand. "Yes, let us discuss terms." His voice became cold and businesslike. "The Zephyrian Collective has studied your species. We have decided what role humans will play in our growing empire." Dr. Martinez pulled out a data pad. "We were hoping to discuss a partnership between equals," he said. The aliens made their grinding laughter again. "Equals," Siskatar said. "You think creatures who bond with rats can be our equals?" He began walking around the room as he spoke. His tail swished behind him with each step. "Humans will provide workers for our mining operations. You will give us your young people to serve in our fleets. In return, we will allow your species to continue existing." "That sounds more like slavery than partnership," Captain Rodriguez said. His voice was tight with controlled anger. "Call it what you want," Siskatar said. He stopped walking and faced the humans. "Your choice is simple. Accept our generous offer or face the consequences." "What consequences?" Dr. Martinez asked. Another alien stepped forward. This one was even larger than Siskatar. Scars covered his scaled skin. "The consequences of defying the collective are always the same," he said. "Complete destruction." Sarah felt Brutus move slightly next to her feet. The honey badger was still sitting, but now his muscles looked tense. His dark eyes had focused on the scarred alien. "You cannot be serious," Captain Rodriguez said. "Earth has 40 billion people. We have space fleets and weapons." "And we have conquered 100 worlds," Siskatar said. "Your weapons are primitive. Your fleets are small. And your people." He looked down at Brutus again. "Your people choose rats as companions. This tells us everything we need to know about human character." The crystal butterfly on his arm spread its wings and created a small light show. The rainbow colors seemed to mock the humans in the room. "We have seen your broadcasts," the scarred alien said. Your entertainment shows you as violent and aggressive, but here you stand with a weak creature that cannot even perform simple tricks. You lie to yourselves about your own nature." Sarah's anger was growing. These aliens thought they knew everything about humans because of one small honey badger. They had no idea what they were talking about. "You have one rotation to give us your answer," Siskatar said. A rotation was about 24 Earth hours. "Accept our terms, or we will show you what happens to species that refuse Zephyrian generosity." He took a step towards Sarah. His yellow eyes looked down at her with amusement. "Perhaps I will keep your little rat as a pet," he said. "It can play with my crystalline dancer, though I suspect it would die of fright at the first sign of real beauty." Siskatar reached toward Sarah's arm as if he owned her already. "You will make a good worker in our food processing facilities," he said. That was when Brutus moved. The honey badger did not make any sound. He did not snarl or growl or show his teeth. He simply stood up and took 2 steps forward, placing himself directly between Sarah and the alien commander. Brutus looked up at Siskatar with calm, dark eyes. His body was completely relaxed, except for one thing. Every muscle was coiled and ready to explode into action. The aliens stared down at the small creature. "Does your rat think it can threaten me?" Siskatar asked. He laughed so hard that his crystal butterfly had to flutter its wings to keep balance. "Look," another alien said. "The tiny beast thinks it can protect its owner. How touching." Sarah looked down at Brutus. She had seen this behavior before. The honey badger was not afraid. He was not angry. He was simply calculating. His mind was deciding exactly how to kill the creature in front of him if it became necessary. "Brutus," she said softly. "Easy." The honey badger did not move. He continued staring at Siskatar with unblinking eyes. "Perhaps I should demonstrate Zephyrian power," Siskatar said. He gestured to the scarred alien. "Graktul, show these humans what happens to creatures that dare to threaten their betters." Graktul stepped forward. He was huge compared to Brutus. His clawed hands could easily crush the honey badger. "It will be quick," he said. Sarah felt her heart racing. She knew she should call Brutus back to her side. But part of her wanted to see what would happen. These aliens thought they knew everything about Earth creatures. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Graktul reached down toward Brutus with one massive clawed hand. "Come here, little rat," he said. Brutus tilted his head slightly like he was asking a question. Then he sat down and continued watching the aliens with calm, patient eyes. The aliens laughed harder. "It is too frightened to even run," Siskatar said, "just like its weak human owners." Captain Rodriguez was speaking quietly into his communication device, probably calling for backup. Dr. Martinez was recording everything on his data pad. The other humans looked nervous and scared, but Sarah was not scared. She was watching Brutus carefully. She knew that look in his eyes. She had seen it when he hunted rats in the Mars facility. She had seen it when a snake tried to bite her during a field expedition. Brutus was not afraid. He was waiting. Graktul's huge clawed hand hovered over Brutus for a moment. The scarred alien was enjoying the fear he saw in the human faces. "Such a pathetic creature," he said. "I will make this quick." Sarah opened her mouth to call Brutus back, but Siskatar spoke first. "Wait," the commander said. His yellow eyes gleamed with cruel pleasure. "I have a better idea." He looked at Sarah. "Your creature means something to you, does it not? I can see it in your face." Sarah tried to keep her expression blank, but Siskatar was right. Brutus was more than just a pet to her. He was her closest friend. They had been through everything together. "Yes," Siskatar continued. "I thought so. Then perhaps this will teach you about Zephyrian power." He turned to Graktul. "Do not kill it quickly. Make it suffer first. Let the humans watch what happens to things they care about when they refuse our generosity." Gractul smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. With pleasure, Commander. Sarah felt cold fear run down her spine. This had gone too far. Stop, she said. Leave him alone. He has done nothing to you. Exactly, Siskatar said. Your rat has done nothing. It cannot do anything, just like humans. He gestured to his crystal butterfly. Beauty, grace, and obedience. These are the qualities of a proper companion. Your creature has none of these. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. This is unnecessary. The animal poses no threat to anyone. Of course it does not, Siskatar said. But it serves as a perfect example. Gractul, begin. The scarred alien reached down with both hands. His plan was simple. Grab the small creature and slowly squeeze it until it stopped moving. The humans would watch and learn what Zephyrian power could do. But Gractul had never met a honey badger. The moment his fingers touched Brutus, the small animal exploded into motion. There was no warning growl, no threatening display. 1 second, Brutus was sitting calmly, and the next second, he was a furry missile of pure destruction. He launched himself at Gractul's outstretched arm and latched on with teeth and claws. The alien's confident smile vanished instantly. He tried to shake Brutus off, but the honey badger's grip was like iron. Brutus had spent 3 years studying anatomy books with Sarah. He knew exactly where every important nerve and blood vessel was located. His teeth found the major artery in Gractul's forearm and bit down hard. Gractul screamed. It was a sound like metal tearing. Blue blood poured from the wounds in his arm. He grabbed Brutus with his other hand and tried to pull him off. The honey badger let go of the arm and immediately attacked the hand that was grabbing him. His claws raked across Gractul's palm, shredding the scaled skin. Then his teeth found the alien's thumb and crunched down on the joint. "Get it off!" Gractul screamed. "Get it off me!" The other aliens scrambled backward. They had never seen anything like this. The small earth creature was destroying one of their best warriors, and nothing seemed to stop it. Gractul fell to his knees. Brutus rode him down, still attached to his hand. The honey badger's thick skin meant the alien's desperate strikes had no effect. Gractul might as well have been hitting a piece of leather armor. "Shoot it!" Siskatar yelled. "Someone shoot the beast!" 2 aliens pulled out energy weapons. But Gractul was rolling around on the floor, and Brutus was moving too fast. They could not get a clear shot without hitting their own warrior. Sarah watched in amazement. She had seen Brutus hunt before, but never like this. The honey badger was completely calm even as he systematically destroyed his opponent. He showed no anger, no fear, no excitement. He was simply doing what honey badgers had evolved to do. Brutus switched targets again. He let go of Gractul's ruined hand and ran up the alien's arm to his shoulder. Gractul tried to grab him, but his damaged hands could not grip properly. The honey badger's teeth found the nerve cluster where the alien's neck met his shoulder. Gractul's entire left side went numb. He collapsed completely, unable to use half his body. "Enough!" Sarah called out. "Brutus, come!" The honey badger immediately stopped attacking. He looked at Sarah, tilted his head as if asking if she was sure, then calmly walked back to her side. Blue alien blood dripped from his fur. Gractul lay on the floor, whimpering. Both his hands were destroyed. His arm was torn open. Nerve damage had paralyzed his left side. The mighty Zephyrian warrior had been reduced to a broken, crying mess by a creature 1/10 his size. The other aliens stared in shocked silence. Their weapons were still drawn, but none of them wanted to get close enough to use them. Brutus sat down next to Sarah's feet and began cleaning his fur. He acted like nothing unusual had happened. To him, it probably had not. Honey badgers fight off lions and hyenas for fun. One large reptile was not worth getting excited about. Siskatar's crystal butterfly had hidden itself in his bag during the violence. The commander's yellow eyes were wide with disbelief. What is that creature?" he whispered. "I told you," Sarah said calmly. "His name is Brutus. He is a honey badger from Earth." "That is impossible," another alien said. "No creature that small could do so much damage." Sarah knelt down and gently petted Brutus behind the ears. He made a soft, rumbling sound of contentment. "Honey badgers are special," she said. "They do not know how to give up. They do not know how to back down. And they certainly do not know how to be afraid." She stood up and looked directly at Siskatar. "You wanted to know about human character? This is it. We bond with creatures like Brutus because we recognize strength when we see it. Real strength. Not the kind that bullies weaker beings, but the kind that never surrenders no matter how bad things get." Siskatar's hand moved toward his weapon. His face showed pure rage. "You dare lecture me after your beast attacked my warrior?" "Your warrior attacked first," Captain Rodriguez pointed out. "My people have it all recorded." "I do not care about your recordings," Siskatar snarled. "That creature nearly killed Graktul." Sarah looked down at the wounded alien who was still moaning on the floor. Actually, if Brutus had wanted to kill him, he would be dead already. Honey badgers know exactly where to bite to cause maximum damage. Brutus was just teaching him some manners. The honey badger looked up at her with bright, intelligent eyes. His fur was now clean of blood. He seemed perfectly ready to do it all again if necessary. Siskatar's rage boiled over. His yellow eyes burned as he looked down at his wounded warrior. Graktul was one of the strongest fighters in the Zephyrian fleet. Seeing him broken and helpless on the floor was more than the commander could bear. "This insult will not stand," Siskatar hissed. His hand closed around the handle of his ceremonial battle claw. The weapon was made of polished metal and was sharp enough to cut through armor. "I will kill both of you myself." Sarah backed away slightly, but Brutus did not move. The honey badger watched the alien commander with the same calm patience he had shown before. His dark eyes tracked every movement. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Commander Siskatar, this has gone far enough. We came here for peaceful negotiations." "Peace?" Siskatar drew his weapon. The curved blade gleamed under the station's lights. "There can be no peace with creatures that harbor such demons. Your species is clearly too dangerous to be allowed into civilized space." He pointed the blade at Sarah. "You and your beast will die. Then we will return to Earth and sterilize your entire world. No more humans. No more honey badgers. The galaxy will be safer without you." Dr. Martinez was frantically speaking into his communicator, calling for security. But help would take several minutes to arrive. Too long. Siskatar raised his weapon and charged forward. He was fast for such a large creature. His powerful legs carried him across the room in seconds. The ceremonial claw swung down in a deadly arc aimed at Sarah's head. But Brutus was faster. The honey badger launched himself from the floor like a black and white missile. He hit Siskatar in the chest just as the alien's weapon began its downward swing. The impact knocked the commander off balance. His claw struck the metal floor where Sarah had been standing a moment before. Brutus scrambled up Siskatar's body with incredible speed. His claws found purchase in the alien's scaled skin. Siskatar tried to grab him, but honey badgers are built for exactly this kind of fight. Their loose skin means attackers cannot get a solid grip. The alien commander swung his weapon at Brutus. But the honey badger was already moving. He flowed around Siskatar's body like liquid, always staying just ahead of the blade. His teeth and claws left a trail of wounds as he climbed higher. "Hold still, you demon!" Siskatar roared. He spun around trying to dislodge his attacker, but Brutus had reached his target. The honey badger's teeth closed on Siskatar's wrist, right where the commander held his weapon. Brutus bit down hard, his powerful jaws crushing through scales and into the joint beneath. Siskatar screamed and dropped his ceremonial claw. Other aliens rushed forward to help their commander. But Brutus was ready for them, too. He leaped from Sisktar to the nearest attacker, a thin alien with orange markings on his scales. The new target tried to shoot Brutus with an energy weapon, but the honey badger was too close. Brutus's claws raked across the alien's shooting arm, ruining his aim. The energy blast went wild, scorching the ceiling. "He is too fast!" the orange alien cried. "I cannot hit him!" Brutus grabbed the alien's weapon hand and bit down on the fingers. The gun clattered to the floor. Then the honey badger was gone, already moving to his next target. The remaining aliens tried to surround him, but Brutus was everywhere at once. He flowed between their legs, under their arms, around their weapons. Every movement left wounds. Every wound weakened his enemies. Sarah watched in amazement. She had read about honey badgers in the wild, but seeing Brutus fight multiple opponents was incredible. He was not just brave or tough. He was a tactical genius. Every attack was planned. Every movement had a purpose. One alien tried to stomp on Brutus as he ran past. The honey badger simply grabbed the alien's foot and bit through the tendons above his heel. The alien crashed to the ground, unable to stand. Another alien swung a heavy club at Brutus. The honey badger ducked under the swing and climbed up the attacker's arm. His claws found pressure points that made the alien's grip go numb. The club fell away. Within minutes, half the Zephyrian delegation was on the floor. The others backed away, their weapons shaking in their hands. None of them wanted to get close to the small earth creature that fought like a nightmare come to life. Sisktar struggled to his feet. His wrist was mangled, and blue blood covered his chest where Brutus had climbed. But he was not finished fighting. "Cowards!" he yelled at his remaining warriors. "It is just one small animal." He picked up his dropped weapon with his good hand. "I will show you how a true Zephyrian deals with vermin." Sisktar charged at Brutus again. This time he was more careful, keeping his weapon moving in wide arcs to prevent the honey badger from getting close. But Brutus did not try to dodge. Instead, he ran straight at the commander. The ceremonial claw swung down in a killing blow. At the last possible second, Brutus jumped. Not away from the weapon, but toward it. He landed on the flat of the blade and ran up its length like it was a bridge. Sisktar's eyes went wide with shock. Brutus reached the commander's hand and bit down on his knuckles. Sisktar dropped the weapon again and tried to shake the honey badger off, but Brutus was already climbing higher. The small animal reached Sisktar's shoulder and looked directly into the alien's yellow eyes. For a moment, predator and prey stared at each other. Then Brutus's teeth found the major blood vessel in the commander's neck. Sisktar's struggles grew weaker. His vision blurred as blood loss took its toll. The mighty commander of the Zephyrian fleet fell to his knees, then collapsed completely. Brutus let go and stepped back. He looked around the room at the wounded aliens, making sure none of them were still a threat. Then he calmly walked back to Sarah's side and sat down. The honey badger began cleaning his fur again. His job was done. The meeting room was very quiet. The only sounds were the moans of wounded aliens and the soft humming of the space station's air systems. Brutus sat next to Sarah, calmly grooming his black and white fur. He looked completely relaxed, as if he had just finished a pleasant walk instead of defeating an entire alien delegation. Sisktar lay unconscious on the floor. His breathing was shallow but steady. The bite on his neck had missed the major artery by millimeters. If Brutus had wanted to kill him, the commander would be dead. But honey badgers are precise hunters. They only use as much force as needed. The remaining Zephyrians stared at the small earth creature with new eyes. Fear, respect, and confusion mixed on their scaled faces. They kept their weapons ready, but none of them wanted to get any closer. Sarah knelt down next to Brutus and scratched behind his ears. "Good boy," she said softly. "That was very well done." The honey badger made a satisfied rumbling sound and leaned into her touch. To anyone watching, He looked like a normal pet, enjoying attention from his owner. Captain Rodriguez carefully approached the wounded aliens. "Dr. Martinez, call for medical teams," he said. "These beings need treatment." One of the uninjured Zephyrians, a smaller alien with silver markings, spoke in a shaky voice. "Do not come closer. We do not know what other demons you might have with you." "Brutus is not a demon," Sarah said, standing up. "He is exactly what I told you, a honey badger from Earth. This is how they behave when someone they care about is threatened." The silver-marked alien pointed at Brutus with a trembling claw. "That creature destroyed our best warriors. It is impossible." "Nothing that small should be so dangerous." Sarah smiled. "You made the same mistake many Earth predators make. You looked at Brutus's size and thought he would be easy prey. Honey badgers have survived millions of years by proving that assumption wrong." She gestured to the wounded aliens around the room. "Brutus has fought lions, leopards, hyenas, and venomous snakes. He raids beehives full of angry bees just because he likes honey. Pain does not stop him. Fear does not exist for him. He simply does not know how to quit." Dr. Martinez finished his call and approached carefully. "Medical teams are on the way," he said. Then he looked at Sarah with amazement. "I have read about honey badgers, but seeing one in action—" "Most people have never seen what they can really do," Sarah said. "They think of them as just another small animal, but honey badgers are special. They face challenges that would terrify creatures 10 times their size." Siskatar stirred on the floor. His yellow eyes opened slowly, and he tried to sit up. The movement made him dizzy, and he had to lie back down. "Commander!" The silver-marked alien rushed to his side. "How do you feel?" Siskatar's voice was weak, but his eyes were clear. "Like I was hit by a cargo transport," he whispered. He turned his head to look at Brutus. "That creature? What is it really?" Sarah walked over and knelt next to the wounded commander. Brutus followed, showing no fear of the alien who had just tried to kill them both. "I told you the truth from the beginning," she said. "He is a honey badger. They are native to Africa on Earth. But the power, the intelligence, the complete lack of fear—" Siskatar struggled with the words. "I have conquered 100 worlds. I have seen the deadliest predators in the galaxy. Nothing fights like that creature." "Honey badgers evolved in a very dangerous place," Sarah explained. "They had to become tougher than everything around them, or they would have gone extinct. Over millions of years they learned to be fearless, relentless, and incredibly smart." Siskatar managed to sit up with help from his aide. He looked at Sarah with new respect. "And humans, you bond with such creatures willingly?" "We do," Sarah said. "We recognize their strength and admire their courage. Brutus has been my closest friend for 3 years. He has never let me down." The wounded commander was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different. The arrogance was gone. "I must ask, why did your beast not kill me? It could have easily done so." Sarah petted Brutus gently. "Because that is not who he is. Honey badgers are fierce fighters, but they are not killers by nature. They fight to protect themselves and those they care about. Once the threat is neutralized, they stop." Neutralized. Siskatar looked around the room at his battered warriors. "I would call this more than neutralized." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Perhaps we should continue our negotiations when everyone has recovered," he said. "No," Siskatar said firmly. "We will talk now. I need to understand what just happened here." He looked directly at Sarah. "Your creature's fighting ability is beyond our experience. But more than that, it shows loyalty and intelligence. It protected you without being commanded. It stopped when you called it. And it chose not to kill when killing would have been easier." Sarah nodded. "These are the qualities we value in our companions: loyalty, courage, intelligence, and restraint." "And you say this represents human character?" the silver-marked alien asked. "In many ways, yes," Captain Rodriguez answered. Humans have always admired creatures like Brutus. We bond with animals that show bravery, loyalty, and determination against impossible odds. Siskatar struggled to his feet. His aide tried to help, but he waved the assistance away. I need to reconsider our original offer, he said. Oh, Dr. Martinez asked. The commander looked around the room one more time. His crystal butterfly had emerged from its hiding place and was perched nervously on his shoulder. Any species that can earn the loyalty of such a creature is not to be underestimated, and any species that chooses such companions clearly values strength over beauty, substance over appearance. He paused, gathering his thoughts. The Zephyrian Collective has made an error in judgment. We assumed human weakness based on incomplete information. This was unwise. Medical teams finally arrived and began treating the wounded aliens. Brutus watched them carefully, but did not interfere. As long as they were helping rather than hurting, he had no problem with them. Siskatar's aide handed him his ceremonial claw. The commander looked at the weapon, then at Brutus, then back at the weapon. Slowly, he set it on the table between them. I offer this as a gesture of respect, he said. Your honey badger has earned it. Brutus tilted his head at the shiny object, sniffed it once, then picked it up in his mouth. He carried it back to Sarah like a trophy. Sarah could not help but smile. I think he likes it, she said. The revised treaty negotiations will begin tomorrow, Siskatar announced. This time, we will discuss a true partnership between equals. Any species that can produce warriors like this one deserves our respect. As the medical teams worked and diplomats began planning new talks, Sarah noticed something interesting. Siskatar's crystal butterfly had flown over to land on her shoulder. The beautiful creature seemed to have decided that anyone who could control a honey badger was probably a good protector. Brutus looked up at his new crystal companion and made a soft, rumbling sound. The butterfly responded with gentle chimes of light. Sarah petted both animals and smiled. Sometimes the best diplomacy came from the most unexpected places.